just done something on my channel that I've never done before. I took down an episode. I took an episode of How to Drink off the internet. Never done that before, ever. And I don't know, like 500 episodes or something. There's a lot of them. And some of them are garbage, you know, especially like you look at stuff from like the beginning. I haven't taken them down. So the premise of this episode was that my cousin-in-law and I took this old Compact 286 and we connected it to the internet and made it talk to ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How can I assist you today?
Which, as a child of the 80s, is very fucking cool for me. And then I had ChatGPT come up with cocktails that were toasts to its AI cousins. Admittedly, not my most inventive idea. Honestly, I just kind of wanted to play with the computer. That was really the premise there. And also, full disclosure, the last time I did an episode with any kind of an AI component in it, it was probably the best video I did in all of 2023 in terms of performance. It was maybe the only hit I had in 2023. And I am thirsty for a hit. I'm not gonna lie over here at How to Drink. It really works. I'm gonna turn it on right now. It's gonna make a lot of horrible noise, but it will boot up and it will connect to the internet and it'll talk to ChatGPT. The whole project kind of came together because I found a GitHub repository that was DOS GPT, and I thought, oh, that's cool. And I knew that my wife's cousin was really into retro computing, and so we put it together. ChatGPT was now physically embodied in the room with me, which I felt like, you know, from a narrative standpoint, cinematic standpoint, was not a bad thing. Obviously, AI and large language models are highly controversial right now. It's a very heated topic. There are she likes to talk. There are massive ethical questions about all of that, and about what it means for so many things, and also just about the way that these things are trained and where they get their data sets from. And I think that there's probably going to be some kind of legislation about that, and I think that'll be good. I think that we'll right now it's a little bit of the Wild West, and I'm sure that in a year or two some of these things will be ironed out. I have a lot of thoughts about that. I don't know if they're going to make it into this. And some people were upset about it. Not a lot. I mean, like, there was a couple of negative comments about the topic. I think that there's a lot of room for debate, but that's never why I would take the video down. That's not why I took it down. The reason that I took it down has a lot to do with how YouTube works, actually. And so I actually have to get into a little bit about how YouTube works. Really, two factors determine if a video is going to be seen or not. One is something called click-through rate, and the other one is watch time, and to the extent that I can control that, it's entirely about retention. Click-through rate is a measurement of what percentage of people click on your thumbnail when it is shown to them. You know, you go to youtube.com or on your app and YouTube says, here's some stuff, you wanna watch this? If you click on it, that's good for that video. If you don't, if you make it to the search bar or you go over to your subscription bar or whatever, that's bad for that video. So click-through rate is measured as a percentage. This video opened with about an 8% CTR, and then it dropped rapidly to 5%. Which is bad. That means that people weren't into it. They just didn't want to watch it. People were being offered the video and saying, no thanks, no thanks, no thanks. And I don't think that that's because of the fact that it was about AI, because if that were the case, they probably would have hate watched it. They probably would have jumped in and told me what an asshole I was. That wasn't happening. The other problem was retention. I don't have the exact retention numbers yet, but I got a heads up from YouTube that they're not good. They're not good, they're still tabulating, but people are watching this something like 13% less time or 22% less time or something like that. It's not good. The people who love your channel, it said, aren't watching it. That's not good. And from the comments, it was pretty clear why. This thing can't talk, you know? It doesn't have a sound card in it. If it did, we could actually make it talk, but it doesn't have a sound card. And so I thought, well, we'll give it a voice in post. And I wanted it to sound something like the AI in the movie War Games, right?
The only winning move is not to play.
And I found out that that's a lot harder than I thought it was. I thought, it'll just be some text-to-speech. No. Text-to-speech doesn't sound like that.
Ingredients: 2 ounces block vodka, representing the void of space and the monolith.
Especially now, actually. Like, old school text-to-speech does sound a little bit like that. Now it just sounds like people because of AI.
So this is what modern AI-based text-to-speech sounds like.
Really? That's crazy. Oh God, I'm AI too.
Look, we're all just deterministic creatures playing through the inevitable outcomes of infinitely complex cybernetic feedback loops that imagine themselves to be at the wheel, okay? So what's the difference?
Didn't sound good. I didn't like the way it sounded, so I played with it some. I still didn't like the way it sounded. I dusted off an old VST plugin that I used to love back when I would think that I might do electronic music or something, called Buffer Override by Destroy Effects. I loved the way it sounded.
1 ounce aged rum, 1 ounce cognac.
But everybody who listened to it told me they couldn't understand a word of it. It was unintelligible. And I got into this problem where, because I knew what it was saying, I was a very bad judge of if it could be understood or not. I couldn't tell. So we went through, I spent a week on this. I did so many iterations of that voice. I had Meredith record the entire thing.
Half-ounce lemon juice, add a bit of sharpness, mirroring Hal's intelligence. Half-ounce simple syrup, 1 egg white for smooth velvety texture.
And then I was going to process it, and I couldn't make it sound inhuman enough without it sounding incomprehensible. I don't know. And so ultimately the sound that I ended up with was text-to-speech, like old school text-to-speech, pushed through a couple of effects. A little bit crushing to make it sound like an NES kind of thing. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Apparently, it sounds awful.
Strain into a chill cocktail glass. For the garnish, consider using raspberry skewer, lemon twist.
People didn't like it. So I was getting a lot of comments saying, ow, I don't want to hear that. And I think that, I know that that's a huge factor in retention. So we had a video here that had bad CTR. Most people didn't want to watch it. And then the people who did want to watch it kind of couldn't. That's not a winning combination. The thing about this stuff is that first hour of launch time, that first 2 hours of launch time, really, really controls the lifelong performance of an episode of a video on YouTube. That first couple of hours, very good indicator of how this video is going to do over time, generally speaking. And it looked to me like a lot of wasted effort, and that I'd put out a video that every time somebody stumbled into it, they were going to be annoyed by it, and it just didn't make sense on the channel. Maybe I panicked. Maybe I should have let it ride. I don't know. I pulled it down. I've never done that before. If you want to see it, by the way, you can. It's on YouTube. I'll put a link down there and up here. You can go check it out. It's just not listed. It's just not publicly available. But if you know the link, you can go check it out. Go check it out. That's fine. So I took it down and I thought, what am I going to do here? Well, maybe there's another video here. Maybe we can talk about this stuff and I can still present the content to you that we made, and I can present it to you in a way that's not so horribly unappetizing. I'm gonna cut to the actual episode a couple times here, and when I do, I'm gonna not use the original horrible voice that everybody hated. I'll do something better. If you want to hear the awful voice, you can click down here or up here in the corner. I'd love to know if you actually like it, because I thought it was cool. Not a lot of people did, it seems. So it started with HAL 9000.
Let's name it the Cosmic Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Here's the first part. 2 ounces black vodka, representing the void of space, and the monolith.
I don't got that, but I do have a black cocktail glass, and this vodka comes from a black sort of bottle, so that's what we got.
1 ounce of Chambord to add a hint of red, reminiscent of Hal's camera eye. 1/2 ounce of lemon juice to add a bit of sharpness, mirroring Hal's intelligence. 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, 1 egg white for a smooth velvety texture. Now dry shake. And add ice to the shaker and shake again until well chilled. Strain into a chilled cocktail glass. For the garnish, consider using a raspberry skewer and lemon twist.
This is the Cosmic Hal. Ooh, very excited about this. It is very sweet, but it's really approachable. It's a lot like a Clover Club, but with less raspberry freshness, more raspberry sweetness. Great texture, really well balanced. Like the lemon to sweet ratio is very nice for an accessible cocktail. Not a classic cocktail, not a spirit-forward cocktail. Certainly not a, I would say it's kind of sophisticated, in fact. It's an elevated easy drink, let's put it that way. I'm very impressed. I did not think this was gonna be this good, because usually Chambord is like the kiss of death. This is tasty. A little lemon, a little bit sweet, a little bit raspberry. It kind of, now that I'm saying that, does taste like an Arizona iced tea, so I don't mind that. I was ready to tell her, hey, this is a bad drink. This is not a bad drink. There is an occasional herbal note that comes to the fore, I think from the Chambord. Man, I like it. This drink, And all of the drinks in How to Drink will be served in a whiskey glass. This is a whiskey glass. Whiskey is the official glassware provider of How to Drink. If you like the beautiful glassware that I use on the show, you can use the link in the pin comment below or up here in the corner. You can use code HowToDrink15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off of your entire order from Whiskey. Show them some love because they've shown me plenty. Thank you to Whiskey. So that was pretty good. And then after the HAL 9000, I asked it to do a drink for Mother from Alien, one of my favorite movies of all time. Love Alien and Aliens, and not so much the ones after that, but I like those two movies a lot. It came up with a drink called the Nostromo Nebula.
Any suggestions from you or Mother?
The Nostromo Nebula. Ingredients: 1.5 ounces of black vodka, representing the vastness of space. Half an ounce of green chartreuse, evoking the alien's blood. 1 ounce of fresh lime juice for acidity and brightness. 1 ounce of simple syrup to balance the acidity. 2 ounces of club soda for a touch of effervescence. Edible silver dust for a starry, cosmic effect. Garnish with a lime wheel. Blackberries optional to represent asteroids.
The Nostromo Nebula. Not bad. Too sweet. Drinkable. Not going to make me retch. It's just kind of boring. It's very chartreusey in a very nice way. You know, I do find that chartreuse and coffee go very well together, and I don't really intend to make a habit here of correcting the old gal, but I'm going to throw a little coffee liqueur in there, a little Mr. Black, something not sweet. One, because it'll darken it, and two, because I actually think it might be good here. So here we go with a half an ounce, maybe even 3/4. Oh, that actually looks really cool, doesn't it? Well, obviously it's not going to make it black, but it does something, and it does help the glitter show a lot, actually. Let's see how that is. Probably ruined it, but it's always fun to find out. No, I think that's really cool. I think that's a huge improvement. The chartreuse and the coffee are such good bedfellows. They love each other. The chartreuse is lifting the coffee and adding new depth to it, and the coffee is bringing some bottom notes into the chartreuse and balancing it out. And all of this is working really well to rebalance the over sweetness that this drink had, in my opinion. The lime brightens the whole thing. I love this drink. I think it just needed a little human hand on there to bring it to the fore. It also has a note that's reminiscent of Coca-Cola when you put it all together, but like in a very dry, mature kind of Coca-Cola. It has some of those notes in there. I do think that if I could make it darker with like a bit of black food coloring, that'd be fun. I could see how that'd be neat. I don't have that capacity. I really like the lingering coffee notes that hang out for quite a while after a sip. This is a very approachable drink. Well, thank you for the inspiration. Not a bad drink. Got really cool when I added the Mr. Black to it. That was a big improvement on it. So from the Nostromo Nebula, we went over to Skynet from Terminator. Another one where I like the first two, not so much the other ones.
The Cybernetic Dawn.
Oh my God, the Cybernetic Dawn. What a name! Also, knowing Skynet, dark.
Ingredients: 1.5 ounces gin, half an ounce of blue curacao, 1/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice, half an ounce of simple syrup, and 1 egg white, edible silver dust. Now dry shake.
ChatGPT.
Add ice and shake again and strain into a cocktail glass.
My God, is that blue?
Garnish with a slice of lemon or a twist of lemon peel.
This is a Cybernetic Dawn, courtesy of ChatGPT, as a toast to Skynet. No, there's truly no future. No, that one's bad. Looks like toothpaste, kind of a lot like toothpaste. It is not minty fresh, but it is thick. Oh, it tastes like the hard candies that your great aunt, who was like 90 years old in 1990, had in a tray, and they were completely solidified. It tastes like those. It tastes a little bit like the way machine oil smells, so I think that ChatGPT is really onto something there. And Christmas circa 1988. No, this one's bad, chat. Goodbye. Let's move on. And so now at this point, it's starting to make worse drinks. The Cybernetic Dawn really didn't impress me very much. It was extremely unattractive. And it didn't taste great, and it resisted my efforts to improve it. So if you've been around for a while playing video games, you may remember a game called System Shock. It was really kind of revolutionary first time, a role-playing kind of first-person shooter game, not like paved the way for a lot of stuff to come, let's put it that way. And BioShock is its spiritual successor, of course, drawing heavily from System Shock. So System Shock is a game, it has a evil AI in it called Shodan. Make a drink for Shodan.
I am Shodan.
Shodan's Neural Shock, no vodka version.
Let's make Shodan's Neural Shock. We need ice. Boop.
Ingredients: 1 ounce of green chartreuse, 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of lime juice, half an ounce of simple syrup, 3 ounces of club soda. Garnish with a sprig of mint to represent the fleeting hope of overcoming Shodan's tyranny.
I did not know that mint did that. Good to know.
And a dash of blue curacao for a hint of the unexpected.
Here we go. Shodan's Neural Shock. Thank you, ChatGPT. Definitely a shock to my nervous system. This tastes like my grandmother's mildewy basement. Oh, God. Earthy bitter, like roots bitter. It is unbalanced, very limony. It tastes a little bit like tree bark in a negative way, as if that could ever be in a good way. It tastes like mildew and funk. This drink sucks, ChatGPT. I did insult you on the last one. Maybe you did this to me on purpose. I'm not vibing on this feller. I do love the look of it, though. It just, oh, man, is it bad. All right, next on the list, old chatty chat, chitty chat. And true to its name, the Shodan's Neural Shock was shocking to my nervous system. It was not a pleasant drink at all. Did not like that. Things are really, quality is diminishing here. It's getting worse, you know? You might be noticing a trend. And so from there, we stay with the video game theme. We went to GLaDOS from Portal, came up with GLaDOS's Quantum Conundrum.
Oh, thank God, you're all right.
GLaDOS's Quantum Conundrum.
All right, let's make this drink the GLaDOS Quantum Conundrum.
Ingredients: 2 ounces of gin.
This drink is going to be absolutely ridiculously powerful because it's a lot of alcohol.
1 ounce of white rum, half an ounce of lime juice, half an ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of cream of coconut.
Here's where it gets a little tricky. I don't have any coconut cream, but I do have a can of coconut milk and I have simple syrup, and with the two, we can kind of make coconut cream. Half an ounce of that, half an ounce of simple. There's our coconut cream, better than regular.
Half an ounce of blue curacao, a 1/4 ounce of activated charcoal syrup.
Skipping the charcoal syrup.
A 1/4 ounce of grenadine to replace charcoal syrup. A pinch of edible silver dust.
Let's give this a stir. Oh, what an unappealing color it turned into.
Top with 3 ounces of tonic water.
Here we go. GLaDOS's Quantum Conundrum. The silver adds nothing. Well, now that's different. Huh. Okay, tonic is a bad choice here. Oh, my first sip was like quasi-enjoyable but unique. I was just like, oh, I don't yet know how I feel about this. But then the bitterness of the tonic now has become overpowering on my second sip, and it just tastes like bile. This is a terrible drink. It's funny, man. She was like really on it for a couple there, and like now, no good. Could I fix it though? I want to fix this one. I don't know why I want to fix it. I'm going to do another ounce of our coconut syrup. I don't think this can be saved, but we'll try it. And a couple dashes of Greg's ketchup here. Angostura bitters. Give her a stir. Really go for that diarrhea vibe with this drink. Yeah, that looks good. Garnish it with mint. GLaDOS's Swamp. It is a much more interesting flavor. Much better. It tastes like Christmas. And like a lot like Christmas. It tastes like coconut cookies, mint, and cinnamon. It still leaves your throat with like a weird, bitter, bile, tonic water aftertaste. It's like, it does not need to be in here. Tonic water is a really bad choice. So I don't know, even for a cakeless drink, it's okay. It's really growing on me now that I've tweaked it. So then I got to the cinematic AI that made me want to build this machine, which is the Whopper from War Games. Love that movie. Super cool. Kind of a mess. It kept trying to use ingredients I asked it not to use, and I wound up generating 3 different recipes and making 2 of them. They had some merits.
Global thermonuclear war.
First off, mwah, beautiful name, Global Thermonuclear War. Yes! We need... I told you no vodka. Let's try to refine this. Show me another version of that recipe that doesn't involve vodka or blue curacao. This is an entirely new recipe! Great. Give me the ingredients list for the last recipe you wrote.
Code Red Protocol.
I don't recall a Code Red Protocol showing up in that movie. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I just don't remember. I really need a drink that's specific to the film. War Games. Be creative.
Whopper Whiz.
Now we're in a bit of a quandary. I got 3 recipes from the old gal. Global Thermonuclear War was so much like other drinks that's had me made today that I didn't want to make it. So I asked for another one. It made a Code Red Protocol. Code Red Protocol's got nothing to do with the movie War Games, but it's a good recipe. I kind of want to make it. We can call that a Global Thermonuclear War, but it also gave me a recipe for this thing called Whopper Whiz, which doesn't sound bad. We can do both. Let's do both. Life's like that sometimes. Let's do both. I need a shaker for the Code Red, and I need a Collins for the other one. There we go.
Global Thermonuclear War. 1.5 ounces of bourbon. Whopper Whiz. 2 ounces bourbon. Global Thermonuclear War. 1/2 ounce of amaretto and 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. Whopper Whiz. 1/2 ounce of lime juice and 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Global Thermonuclear War. 1/4 ounce of grenadine for color and sweetness, and then a dash of Angostura bitters. Whopper Whiz. 2 dashes of Angostura bitters.
All right, we're gonna need some ice for this to stir it. We're gonna need some ice for this to shake it. Crack them.
A cherry for garnish. 2 ounces of cola. A twist of lime and a maraschino cherry for garnish.
Let's check these out. This one is the Global Thermonuclear War. I kind of love this drink in theory, but let's see how it tastes. You know what? It's a little boring on the front. It ends with this woody kind of cherry note that I like a lot. I think that's actually coming from the residual syrup on the Luxardo cherry and the amaretto kind of working together. And you know what? Now that I'm putting it all together, they are playing off of the bourbon in a pretty pleasant way. It's like missing something. It needs like an Amaro. I might think about that for a second. ChatGPT called this one the Whopper Whiz, which sounds like computer piss. So let's have some computer piss. Oh, God. That's what it tastes like. Ah! That tastes like computer piss. What the freaking, oh my God. That can't be salvaged. Oh. Like roof tar. That is so bad. What in the heck is happening in there? Bubblegum, like a cherry Coke Slurpee, gone wrong. Because like the stuff that they put into a Coke Slurpee is not Coca-Cola. It's some other ingredient meant to evoke Coca-Cola. It tastes a little bit like that, and it tastes like, I forget even now what I just said it tasted like up front. Tastes like hot Carl. There's like some bourbon peanut notes. You know what it might also taste like? Imagine that like some hipster friend of yours said like, oh yeah, I made my own Coca-Cola, check it out. And you had to like pretend it was good and that it also tasted like Coca-Cola. Tastes a little bit like that. It's bad. Ugh. The Whopper Whiz. This guy shows a little promise I want to grab an Amaro and just splash it in there. I just want to. This is my pot. I will splash it if I like. Just for funsies. Let's add half an ounce of Amaro Nonino to this and just see if that helps it. That's weird. That's really weird. It almost tastes like I added Campari to it. It's a cool drink. It has these sophisticated cherry notes in it. I still think it's a little thin. It might just need like a bar spoon of simple. Oh, I don't have any within reach, but orgeat. Like a bar spoon or two of orgeat is gonna kill this drink. It's gonna be amazing. Orgeat. That was 2 bar spoons. Oh, now we're on point. Oh, man. See, it opens up the evolution. Oh, yes. We like this drink very much. It has a mildly almondine sweetness that gives way to these cherry notes, these sophisticated cherry notes, these dry cherry notes that are mated to peanuts from our bourbon. And then that gives way to a kind of slightly bitter, but in a very nice way, almost like a palate refresher, almost like the finish of Coca-Cola. There's no Coca-Cola in this. Yeah, no. This is really good now. This is really good now. I like that. Yeah. Next. After War Games, we go back to Mr. Ridley Scott again for one of my other favorite films of all time, Blade Runner. Made a Nexus Sunset for Roy Batty. Is he an AI? It's a good question. That is a good question. I don't know. It's a complicated one.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
The Nexus Sunset. Ingredients: 1 ounce of aged rum, 1 ounce of cognac, half an ounce of maraschino liqueur, half an ounce of lemon juice, and 2 dashes of orange bitters. Add 1 teaspoon of grenadine.
That actually looks really cool. It's like a blood stain at the bottom of the glass. This is a Nexus 6 Sunset. Here we go. Whew, that is dry. I think the grenadine should be mixed in. That is just tart and slightly oaky, slightly woody. It's not awful. It just needs to be a little sweeter. It's just, am I missing something here? No, it needs to be a little sweeter than that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's better, but let's just throw a bar spoon of simple in, or 2, to go with that grenadine. I mean, I guess it could all just be grenadine. There's really not much reason it shouldn't be. It's much better. Now you can taste it. When it was that dry, you couldn't taste the mellowness of that aged rum, which is a lovely rum. You know, it brings so much, a little bit of hogo, a little bit of this burning sugar kind of caramel note. I get a lot of raisin notes from the cognac, which is mirrored by some of the minor raisin notes that show up in that rum. They really work well together. The lemon juice is just kind of like brightening the drink. It would be heavy without that. But the maraschino, that is clutch in this drink. That is bringing in an element that nothing else is bringing to the table. This warm kind of flavor that is like cherry, but like dry cherry, adjacent to cherry. Cherry that's had its sweetness removed. And you can taste all of that now by virtue of me adding a little bit more sweetness to it. Before, all you could really taste was like lemon juice. And you need that sweetness to really wrap your tongue around the cocktail. It was just missing before, and now it's much, much better. And I like it quite a bit. I think a maraschino cherry would be a great garnish for this. An orange twist would actually be really nice too. I'm sure this is gonna add another dimension to it. Yeah, that adds this sweet orange note to it that brightens the whole drink. Really helps bring it together. That is lovely now. Has this orange and still tart, because orange can be too sweet, but here you're using lemon juice for tartness and orange oil for the flavor, and together they really work well. Then you still have all of those other things I mentioned, the earthy woodiness, the sweetness of it, but not overly sweet. Those round, warm notes, it is so welcoming. is such a wonderful drink to kind of like, I don't know, it feels like comfortable arms wrapped around you. And like maybe a vanilla shows up. Really liking this drink. Does it have anything to do with Blade Runner or Roy Batty? I don't know. I don't know what was in Mr. Batty's head. Maybe this is the kind of thing he wished he could have access to. And so that was it. That was the episode. You know, we made these drinks for these AIs. We played with the cool machine. And like I said, if you want to check it out, you can. Thank you so much for watching the show and seeing what it looks like when I'm not Mr. Drinky Man in the suit with my hair all done. This is what my hair actually looks like without product in it. I know this was a very different kind of thing. If you want to see the original episode, it's down here and it's up in the corner. And if you want to yell at me and tell me I'm a piece of shit for even doing it, probably the best place to do that is my Patreon, which is going to be a real catch-22 for you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you will like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon with another episode of How to Drink. Good night. Good luck. Goodbye.